On Labor Day night, Walters is the spot for disappointed Florida State fans to watch their team bounce back against Boston College. Walters will be open through the entire game.
We're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences, so the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Just go to Indeed.com/Blue Wire right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. That's Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Look at the runner at second, and now the pitch. Swing and a long drive to right center field. Way back. This may go, and it is gone. Over the big wall in right center field. Two-run homer for Cody Bellinger, his 14th of the year. Gives him 57 runs batted in. Cubs have put 7 on the board in the second. They lead it 7-2.
Shota Imanaga with the left-hander's pitch. And a long drive left field. Way back it goes. And Dylan Cruz has home run number 2. It's now 7-3 Chicago. Cruz has hit 2 homers in the big leagues. Both have landed in that left center field bullpen.
Thompson sets. The pitch to Cruz on the way. Swing and a miss. He struck him out with a breaking ball, and the game is over. So Thompson comes in and strikes out Dylan Cruz, and he'll get a save and a big one for the Cubs as they hold on for a 7-6 win.
And welcome to Nats Chat for Saturday, August 31st, 2024. I'm Al Galdi, host of the Al Galdi podcast. Mark Zuckerman is off for this installment of the podcast, but it is nice to be with you on the only Nationals podcast for which there is a new episode for the morning after every Nats regular season game day, weekday, weekend, does not matter. We are down to the final 30 days of the Nats 2024 regular season, which is scheduled to end on September 29th. There are many things that matter for the Nats over these final 30 days, but to me, and I'm guessing to many of you, nothing matters more than how outfielders Dylan Cruz and James Wood do. And the good news is that they are doing well. And Cruz on Friday evening homered for a second consecutive game. Now, the Nats on Friday evening did lose a 7-6 loss to the Chicago Cubs at Nationals Park in Game 1 of a 3-game series, and Cruz did strike out with runners on first and second and 2 outs to end the game. But Cruz also homered. The Nats for this regular season now 61-74. This installment of the Nats Chat podcast brought to us by Table to Mat, which you can count on for all of your nutrition and personal training needs. Table to Mat offers virtual and in-person nutrition services and personal training to the DMV area. You can email Table to Mat directly through the website at tabletomat.com. That's the word table, the number 2, MAT.com. You could also call Table to Mat 240-388-2206. Dylan Cruz, he on Friday evening was the Nats starting right fielder and number 1 batter. He went 1 for 5, but the one was a solo homer. He did strike out twice, but Cruz in the Nats' 1-run third had a leadoff first pitch home run to left field off Cubs starting pitcher Shota Imanaga to cut the Nats deficit to 7-3. The homer per Statcast went a projected 404 feet and had an exit velocity of 106.9 miles per hour, third highest exit velocity of the game. How about the work week that Dylan Cruz just had? He on Monday was promoted to the majors. He over 4 games went 5 for 16 with 2 home runs, 2 doubles and a single, and a walk. Not a bad work week. Not a bad Monday through Friday. And Dylan Cruz homering on Friday evening was part of what ended up being a solid offensive showing by the Nats, an offensive showing fueled by young players. So the Nats in this game, 6 runs, 8 hits, which were a home run, 2 doubles and 5 singles, 3 walks, 3 for 7 with runners in scoring position. The Nats scored 2 runs in the bottom of the first, a run in the bottom of the third, and 3 runs in the bottom of the ninth. The Nats had the Cubs on the ropes in that bottom of the ninth. The biggest issue for the Nats in this game was the strikeout. The Nats struck out 12 times, including in some big spots. James Wood, he on Friday evening as the Nats starting left fielder and number 2 batter, went 1 for 4 with a single. Wood in the Nats a 2-run first, had a 1-out opposite field single to left field on an 0-2 pitch. James Wood still is not elevating balls enough, still is not hitting for the kind of power that you know that he is capable of hitting for, but he is getting on base a good bit. Jacob Young, he on Friday evening as the Nats starting center fielder and number 9 batter, had a big hit in that 3-run ninth. Young for the game went 1 for 4 with a 2-run single, did strike out twice, but Young in the Nats 3-run ninth, a 2-out, bases loaded, first pitch, 2-run single up the middle to cut the Nats deficit to 7-6. Jacob Young for this month of August, OPS of 744. Jose Tena, he on Friday evening as the Nats starting third baseman and number 5 batter, went 1 for 4 with a 2-run double. Tena in the Nats a 2-run first, a 2-out, 2-run double to the right center field gap for a 2-0 Nats lead. Saturday marks 3 weeks since the Nats on August 10th announced having recalled Tena from AAA Rochester. He's since then over 57 plate appearances, has an OPS of 824. He's been quite productive. Andres Chaparro, he on Friday evening got on base multiple times. He is the Nats starting first baseman and number 4 batter, went 1 for 2 with a single and a walk. Chaparro in the Nats 2-run first, drew a 2-out walk, and Chaparro in the bottom of the 6th had a 2-out single to left center field on a 1-2 pitch. Also, Luis Garcia Jr., he on Friday evening in that Nats 3-run ninth, a pinch leadoff double off the center field warning track to conclude a 9-pitch plate appearance against Cubs righty reliever Tyson Miller. The double per Statcast had an exit velocity of 108.6 miles per hour. That was the highest exit velocity of the game. Luis Garcia Jr. for this regular season remains number 1 among all qualified Nats players in OPS. That OPS now at 783. Now, Nats manager Davey Martinez did not start Garcia in this game. This due to the Nats facing a lefty starting pitcher in Shota Imanaga. I still would like to see Garcia start against lefty pitchers. It's going to be hard for him to get better against lefties if he's not allowed to face them. But Ildemaro Vargas in this game as the Nats starting second baseman and number 6 batter went 2 for 4. Had an RBI single and another single. Vargas in the bottom of the 7th had a leadoff first pitch single into right field, and Vargas in the Nats 3-run ninth, a 1-out RBI single to right field to cut the Nats deficit to 7-4. As for who was the Nats number 7 batter for this game, C.J. Abrams. Yes, Abrams was the Nats starting shortstop and number 7 batter. First time in this regular season that Abrams in a game that he started was not the Nats number 1 or number 2 batter. Him being dropped to the number 7 spot is significant. Abrams on Friday evening went 0 for 3 with a walk and 2 strikeouts. Now the walk was good. Abrams in the Nats 3-run ninth, drew a 1-out walk to load the bases despite having been down in the count at 1.12. But this was another hitless game for Abrams. He now for this month of August has an OPS of just 583. The demoting of Abrams to the number 7 spot in the lineup, the dominant topic of Davey Martinez's pregame press conference on Friday afternoon. Here was some of that presser.
Just want to give him a little breather. Want to relax a little bit. Just kind of start working better at bats. As we know, he's chasing a lot. I just want to kind of slow down a little bit. So I talked to him before I sent the lineup out. He's good with it, and like I said, when you start getting on base and taking your walks, I want you to get back up there, but we need to slow you down a little bit. I mean, he's just swinging a lot.
At the end of last year, the beginning of this year, he was doing a better job of slowing things down, not doing that. What do you think has led to him kind of reverting back to some old habits?
Yeah, he's got to go back. He's got to go back to using the middle of the field and swinging the strikes. I know he likes swinging at the first pitch, as we always see. I told him, I said, I'm not gonna tell you not to, especially if you get a fastball, but it's got to be in the zone, and that's where we need to be. So, like I said, he worked his way to be a leadoff hitter. He's going to do it again. I just want to ease his mind a little bit and just go out there and have fun and get some decent pitches to hit. If not, walk.
Do you feel like the leadoff spot and the addition of like James and Dylan behind him maybe add a little pressure to him?
You know what? I don't think that was it, because before Cruz was here, he was struggling. He's been struggling pretty much, since the All-Star break, and we're trying to get him going. I think the biggest thing we need to do with him is understand that he needs to slow his feet down. He's really going to, get the baseball. We need him to get ready early and slow his feet down a little bit.
Is this something that's kind of common with younger players, as they're still establishing themselves and they have a high level of success and then they kind of hit a roadblock a little bit?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, it's part of the game. I was hoping that he worked some things out and get out of the funk. I wanted to see how he reacted to everything, and it's been going on for a while. I've been wanting to do it for a while, and I thought, let's do it now and see if we can get him back so he can finish the season off strong. Yeah, look, a lot of teams move their guys all over the place, so, it's nothing wrong with it. I told him, I said, hey, you're going to play. You're a starting shortstop. Just remember one thing is that when the game starts after the first inning, you become a hitter. That's it, so you may have to lead off one inning. You may have to hit third one inning, so just understand that, you're up there to just work at bats and try to hit the ball hard.
I don't blame Davey Martinez for dropping C.J. Abrams in the lineup. His last 2 months have been brutal. Abrams, for the month of July, had an OPS of just .572. And as mentioned, he, for this month of August, has an OPS of just .583. And what an odd season he's having. We've talked about this. Great in April, really bad in May, great in June, now really bad in July and August. And yet, despite him having been good in just 2 months versus bad in 3 months, he, for this regular season, as of games through Thursday, was number 1 among all Nats players in offensive wins above replacement per Baseball Reference 3.0. That tells you how good he was in April and June.
Swing for the fences this summer and hire Table to Mat for all your nutrition and personal training needs. Being healthy and having fun do not have to be mutually exclusive. Table to Mat specializes in making healthy lifestyles enjoyable and sustainable. Are you experiencing headaches, stomach discomfort, or want to lose weight? Find out how your food choices and exercise impact how you feel physically and mentally. We offer virtual and in-person nutrition services and personal training to the DMV area. With over a decade working in our fields, we bring experience and passion to help you be the best version of yourself. You can email us directly through our website at tabletomat.com or call us at 240-388-2206. That's the word table, the number 2, MAT.com. Hey, Nats Chat, want to tell you about Mint Mobile's premium wireless package starting at $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/natschat. That's mintmobile.com/natschat. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/natschat. $45 upfront payment required. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigs on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
Runner second and third. Nobody out. And a 1-2 pitch coming from Irvin. Now on the way. Swing and a drive in the air to deep right center field. This is way back, and this ball is off the wall in play. This will score both runners. Warner in from third. Swanson scores from second on a booming double by Pete Crow Armstrong. And the Cubs, with 4 hits in a row to start the inning, have plated 3 and take the lead here in the top of the second. It's Chicago 3 and Washington 2.
The Nats starting pitcher for this 7-6 loss to the Cubs on Friday evening was Jake Irvin. And things did not go so well. He allowed at least 4 earned runs for a 6th time in 10 starts. He allowed 7 runs in 4 2/3 innings. Irvin gave up 8 hits, which were a home run, 3 doubles, and 4 singles. He issued 2 walks, a hit by pitch, and 2 wild pitches. He did record 6 strikeouts, but all of this combined to where he over his mere 4 2/3 innings threw a whopping 103 pitches, 66 strikes versus 37 balls. Now, all 7 of the runs that Irvin allowed came in 1 inning, but what a horrendous inning that was. The top of the 2nd. Irvin, in that 7-run Cubs second, gave up a home run, 2 doubles, and 3 singles, and issued a hit by pitch and a wild pitch, and 4 of the 6 hits that he allowed in the inning each had an exit velocity of at least 91 miles per hour per StatCast. Jake Irvin ends up having a rough August. Irvin, over 6 starts in August, had an ERA of 6.61. Here was Davey Martinez during his post-game press conference on Friday night on Jake Irvin, and then you'll hear multiple follow-up exchanges.
1 inning. But that inning, everything was up. Couldn't get the ball down. Location wasn't great. And then after that, he settled down and gave us more than what I thought he was going to give us, after that 2nd inning. So then the bullpen came in and did great, and really did. They attacked the zone. We got important outs, and the bats came alive in the last inning. Just fell short.
Outside of that 2nd inning, again, it felt like everything was down for Jake. Why in that inning do you feel like everything's up?
That's we'll look at, but when he kept the ball down, he was really good. As we saw. So, and that's the key for him, is to keep everything down. When he's down, the curveball works, the changeup works, the 2-seam works. So, hopefully he learns that when he's down, he's very effective.
What are the next steps for Jake to be able to work out of?
That's it.
A situation like
honestly,
that?
Just got to know who he is and go, get back to his strengths.
Yes, he does. Jake Irvin was having such a good season. August, not kind to Jake Irvin. So Irvin on Friday evening, terrible 2nd inning, but another bright spot for the Nats in this 7-6 loss to the Cubs on Friday evening was the bullpen. 5 Nats relievers combined for 4 1/3 scoreless innings with 7 strikeouts. The bullpen was great. Robert Garcia faced 1 batter and got 1 out. He came into the game at the top of the 5th with runners on 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs, and the Nats down 7-3. And Garcia generated a 4-pitch swinging strikeout of Pete Crow Armstrong. Joe LaSorsa tossed a perfect top of the 6th with 2 swinging strikeouts. Tanner Rainey tossed a perfect top of the 7th with 2 strikeouts. Eduardo Salazar tossed a scoreless and hitless top of the 8th, and Orlando Revolta tossed a scoreless top of the 9th. The Nats on Wednesday afternoon announced having recalled Revolta from AAA Rochester. This is the corresponding roster move to putting reliever Yohan Adon on the 15-day injured list, retroactive to August 25th, with what the Nats labeled a right shoulder biceps strain. Game 2 for the Nats against the Cubs Saturday afternoon at 4:05. DJ Hers will be the Nats starting pitcher.
Are you looking for tickets to an upcoming event? That's why you should download the Game Time app. Create an account and use code NATSCHAT for $20 off your first purchase. You get cheaper tickets, and it helps the podcast a bit. Sounds like a smooth 6-4-3 double play. Again, create an account and redeem the code NATSCHAT for $20 off. Terms apply. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Join us at Walters on Friday, October 4th for our end-of-season podcast party. The evening is scheduled from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m.
For those interested in learning a new language, whether it be Spanish, French, or something else, check out Babbel. Babbel's 10-minute lessons are quick and handcrafted by over 200 language experts, ready to get you talking about your new language in just 3 weeks. Because talking is the key to really knowing any language. Designed by real people for having real conversations, Babbel gets you talking. With over 16 million subscriptions sold, Babbel's 14 award-winning language courses are backed by a 20-day money-back guarantee, so no pressure. Here's a special limited-time deal for our listeners right now. Get up to 60%, that's 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for Nats Chat listeners at babbel.com/NatsChat. Get up to 60% off babbel.com/natschat. Spelled BABBEL.com/natschat. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Bases loaded, 2 out. Fans are coming to their feet here at Nationals Park. The pitch. Young swings a ground ball up the middle. Base hit center field. This is going to score 1. This is going to score 2. Stopping at second is Abrams. Jacob Young with a single up the middle. Scores Gallo from third and Vargas from second. The Nationals are within a run. The tying run at second. The winning run is on at first. It's now the Cubs 7 and the Nationals 6. 3 runs home here in the 9th.
You can always email us, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. Email from Cameron Smith on the Nats ownership group, The Learners. Writes Cameron, do you all think that the Learners are aiming at another attempt to sell the Nats this offseason? The main roadblock remains the television rights situation, but now that the Angeloses are no longer majority owners of the Orioles, a possible resolution to the Masson saga seems likelier than ever, though still unlikely, I know. But should that be resolved, the Learners would have set the Nats up perfectly for a new owner. Other aspects that make the Nats more attractive to prospective buyers in 2025, the organization has refilled its prospect pipeline. The Nats have large portions of payroll coming off the books after this season, Patrick Corbin among others, and have the second least amount of payroll committed for the 2025 season. Once the Nats land a high pick in the 2025 MLB draft via the draft lottery, they can only land the 10th best selection for the 2026 MLB draft, so it would make sense to invest money toward contending as the new lottery rules disincentivize tanking next season. The younger Learners have yet to demonstrate that they are fine with spending money. And the Nats still have the stadium naming rights and team patch that the Nats can sell. Thank you all again for such great content. Thank you for the email, Cameron. So personally, I have never believed that the Nats have truly stopped being for sale. The Learners may no longer be actively selling the Nats, but that doesn't mean that the Learners are not open to selling the Nats. It was on April 11th, 2022 that we learned that the Learners had begun exploring selling the Nats. It was this past February 19th, President's Day 2024, that we learned that the Learners were no longer exploring selling the Nats. However, this quote from Nats managing principal owner Mark Lerner on that day of February 19th sticks with me, and I think that this quote is telling. Said Mark Lerner on that day to the Washington Post, quote, "Nothing has really changed. We've just decided that it's not the time or the place to sell the team. We're very happy owning the team and bringing us back a ring one day," end quote. So that right there was not some emphatic declaration of, we own the team, we have no interest in selling the team, we're all in, onward and upward. No, Mark Lerner said, quote, "Nothing has really changed. We've just decided that it's not the time or the place to sell the team," end quote. I believe that if someone right now offered the Lerners whatever they deem an acceptable price for the Nats, the Lerners would sell the Nats. Now, it's a little tricky when we say Lerners. The word Lerners is shorthand for a good number of people. Mark Lerner is the managing principal owner, but listed as principal owners for the Nats are Annette M. Lerner, Marla Lerner Tannenbaum, Deborah Lerner Cohen, Robert K. Tannenbaum, Edward L. Cohen, and Judy Lenkin Lerner. What I believe, and I'm basing this on things that I've heard, is that not all of these people were all in on selling the Nats. Some wanted to sell the team, others did not. I believe that one of the people who did not want to sell the team was Mark Lerner. And to take you behind the scenes of how the news of the Lerners no longer exploring selling the Nats was broken, my understanding of what happened is Mark Lerner pulled Nats insider Andrew Golden of the Washington Post aside and told him the news. Mark, I believe, was excited about the news and wanted it out there. And so he leaked the news. And just to be clear, good for Andrew Golden for getting that news. Andrew does a really good job of covering the team. Something else that I've heard is that the Lerners operate in a democratic way. Mark Lerner may be the managing principal owner, but if the other principal owners all lean one way, but Mark leans the other way, the other principal owners do get their way. Additionally, we know how the Lerners do business. They have whatever price that they believe is acceptable, and they stick to that price. The Lerners are notorious for grinding out deals. What I think happened with the Nats being for sale was enough of the ownership group wanted to sell the team to where the team was for sale. But the Lerners never got the kind of offer for the team that they wanted, and that in conjunction with Mark Lerner and perhaps others in the group not truly wanting to sell the team compelled the Lerners to say that they were no longer actively selling the team. But I do think that the Lerners are, shall we say, passively selling the team. Maybe not actively selling the team, but passively selling the team. And if the right offer came along tomorrow, the Nats would be sold. By the way, Cameron in his email mentioned the potential for naming rights for Nationals Park to be sold. How crazy is it that Nationals Park still has not had a naming rights deal? Nationals Park opened in March 2008. We're about to go into September 2024. Stadiums throughout the country at both the professional and collegiate levels have naming rights deals, and yet Nationals Park still has not had a naming rights deal. Heck, the Commanders, they and Northwest Federal Credit Union this past Tuesday morning jointly announced that Commanders Field now is Northwest Stadium, and this announcement comes just months after the Commanders lost the naming rights deal with FedEx. We this past February 28th learned that FedEx Field was no longer FedEx Field. It turned out that FedEx near the end of 2023 exercised an opt-out triggered by the sale of the Commanders, and FedEx opted out of paying naming rights for FedEx Field. So it took just a few months for the Commanders to find a new naming rights deal. And yet the Nats in season number 17 of Nationals Park still have not had a single naming rights deal. And if you think that Nationals Park still having not had a single naming rights deal is because the Lerners do not want a stadium naming rights deal, well, consider this from our friend Tom Lavero of the Washington Times. Tom, in June 2022, reported that the Lerners in 2021, quote, were ready to sign a naming rights deal for the stadium that has been called Nationals Park since it opened in 2008, according to sources. The deal was ready to be finalized with an unnamed New York financial fund for $18 million annually for an undetermined number of years, sources said. But the company walked away from the negotiations out of frustration with the Lerners when the family upped the price to $20 million a year, sources said, and quote, assuming that all of that is true, and I have no reason to think that all of that isn't true, Tom does really good work. How about that? Talk about a penny wise and a pound foolish, ruining an $18 million per year stadium naming rights deal because you upped the asking price to $20 million per year. How many hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue have the Nats missed out on in not having a stadium naming rights deal? People talk about the money that the Nats have missed out on via the Masson dispute. Why isn't there more talk about the money that the Nats have missed out on in not having a stadium naming rights deal? Well, this episode of the Nats Chat podcast is brought to us by Table to Mat, which you can count on for all of your nutrition and personal training needs. Table to Mat offers virtual and in-person nutrition services and personal training to the DMV area. You can email Table to Mat directly through the website tabletomat.com. That's the word table, the number 2, MAT.com. You can also call Table to Mat 240-388-2206. You tell us what you think. Hit us up on X at Nats_chat. You can email the show, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. We have a website that we invite you to check out, natschatpodcast.com, at which you can purchase a Nats Chat podcast t-shirt. All Nationals radio highlights on Nats Chat are courtesy of 106.7 The Fan. I'm Al Galdi. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time on the Nats Chat podcast.
Fly ball hit towards deep left field. And this is gone. First AAA home run for Andrew Pinckney. And it's a 2-0 Rochester lead.